A very happy Thursday to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Weather Out West. Today, I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and we have a lot to track for you today. The rain has returned again for much of the western United States, prompting one area to issue a weather impact alert. We're tracking who is getting soaked and for how long. Plus, we are just 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? But the winter holiday season is already upon us. We'll show you the places that are getting their holiday spirits on. And winter means shorter days with sunlight, the seasonal depression it may cause, and how to combat symptoms. Once again, we want to wish you a happy Thursday and welcome to Weather Out West. If you haven't joined us before, this is an hour-long show where we tell you what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. We bring forecasts from 8 different regions, and then we have some fun stuff in the mix as well. We begin today in Sacramento, where they've issued a weather impact alert for heavy rain and gusty winds as an atmospheric river takes aim to the region. Here's a live look at the Golden Gate Bridge, and you can see right now it is soggy. You can't see much on either side of the Golden Gate Bridge, and you see lots of people out on the roads. Right now, we are going to send it to meteorologist Monica Woods because she's tracking how long the rain is going to last.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we've got a lot to talk about. Atmospheric river hitting nearly the entire state of California, creating travel impacts. We've got our weather impact alert in place for our Thursday. The impacts being rain, wind, snow, even possible thunderstorms. Need to expect those travel delays, especially all the way through the morning to the evening commute and in the Sierra, where we'll see those changing snow levels. Here's a look at how this all plays out. Now, some of the heaviest rain actually impacting us into the morning commute and the afternoon. We get another pulse of that big surge of moisture coming in during the midday hours. But what you'll notice is that we're only seeing high elevation Sierra snow. So a lot of this is going to fall as rain all the way to about 9,000 feet. That is well above the passes. And that's going to mean a lot of runoff coming into the lower elevations, kind of adding to the rainfall and the accumulated precipitation impacts that we'll be seeing. Into our Thursday evening, we continue to see the back edge of this pulling through central California, but it's at that point that we start to see some of the cold air work in and more instability and the potential for some thunderstorms that will also help to drive down that snow level and bring a little relief on that runoff coming into the lower elevations. So the potential for some snow exists all the way into Friday morning, and we'll see that snow down to about the pass level. Now, that will continue into Friday morning, helping to drive up those snow totals. And then we get another weather system that's still brewing in the southern part of the state that has a chance of bringing us actually some weekend showers as well. The first weather system that rolls through will give us anywhere from about 1 inch to almost 2 inches of rain from the coast through the Central Valley, 2+ inches of rain for the foothills, and it will be a mix of rain and snow for the Sierra. But snow isn't going to be as much of an impact until we get later into Thursday evening through Friday morning. So that's our weather impact alert for our Thursday. The valley, longer commutes, windy conditions. We could be seeing wind gusts up to about 50 miles per hour. For the Sierra, those wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. And in the Sierra, the biggest impact there, shifting snow levels. So be prepared for those changes. Now, into the weekend, we're going to be tracking this next weather impact. That'll be the second up on the list. Not necessarily an alert, but cooler with showers, Sierra, snow, and more travel delays. I'll look at our Thursday temperatures, and this really is a key indicator of why we're seeing those high snow levels. We'll be near 50. For the higher elevations, 50s and 60s down the hill. For the central Sierra, our highs are in the 50s. Valley locations will be in the 60s to right around 70. As we move towards the central coast, we're in the 60s with near 70-degree temperatures for inland areas, even low 80s as we head towards the central San Joaquin Valley. We're in the 60s for the Bay Area as well as the coastal valley communities traveling north along the northwest coast. We're near 60 degrees. We'll see that as well as we head into the north end of the valley. Capital Region forecast, we're seeing highs in the low 60s. That is quite a change from near 80-degree temperatures that we started off with earlier this week. Even cooler weather arrives for Friday as that cold air mass starts to move our way. Still some unsettled weather into the weekend and early next week as well. We've got our weather impact alert in place for Thursday. Unsettled weather through the weekend and early next week with a much cooler weather pattern into next week.
And moving down I-5 to San Diego, where they are also bracing for heavy rain, but it's set to move in tomorrow. Meteorologist Evan Noorani is tracking when the heaviest rain will hit and where there will also be flood concerns.
Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Evan Noorani in San Diego. We have a dry day in the forecast today before an atmospheric river arrives in Southern California, expected to bring moderate to heavy rain to the region, upwards of 6 inches up around Santa Barbara County, all the way down through LA. We're looking at about 4 inches. And for Southern California, as far south as San Diego County, we're anticipating between about 2 and 3 inches in total over the course of the weekend. In anticipation for this, we have a lot going on. There's, of course, sandbags that people can start filling up. This is going to be one of those more intense wet weather events for us in San Diego, in that our water year last year was really light on us, and so far this year, since October 1st, has actually been rather light too. Our final day of dry skies, get all the activities underway today if you want to avoid the wet weather as it arrives from late tonight into early tomorrow. 70 degrees out by the coastline. It actually will be quite mild overall. Then that wet weather starts to arrive late tonight to early tomorrow. There's the green popping up, all light stuff, scattered showers all the way through the day on Friday. You can see how it kind of clears up a little bit from 10 a.m. to maybe noon out there and even into the afternoon stretch. And then late Friday night into early Saturday, that's where the bulk of this rain is expected to come. That's where our more moderate to heavy downpours are expected, and it will be the single heaviest day of rain in the next week or so, Saturday. 5 a.m., you can see how we wake up. Very wet out there to kick off the morning. Going into the afternoon and evening, we continue to see that system push through. Atmospheric river means that it's kind of pulling on that subtropical moisture into the region. There's a great opportunity in the mix there where we see red, especially for some moderate to heavy downpours and for some quick moving thunderstorms. And then it looks like as we get into early Sunday, Sunday is going to be one of those days where we pick up on scattered shower activity. Same goes into Monday and Tuesday. A lot of these models do depict that wet weather lingering a bit. Rainfall estimates take us up to about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, maybe some spots in North County getting to 3/4 of an inch on Friday. Then as we make our way through Saturday, those numbers more than double. We get all the way up to 2+ inches of rain. When all is said and done, after the weekend, by the time we see you on Monday of next week, we are likely to have seen an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain on the ground. Only lighter spots are down toward the South Bay, 1.9 inches in Chula Vista, 1.8 in Borrego Springs. High temperatures in the meantime today are actually quite comfortable, mostly 70s. Got a couple low 80s, maybe El Cajon getting there. Otherwise, it seems like Del Mar should stay in the upper 60s, a little bit of a cooler trend. Then we all cool down through the weekend. We are all getting back to much more fall-like weather, below normal by about 5 to 10 degrees by the time we get through the weekend. That surefire day of wet weather, Saturday, 100% there. Chances start to dwindle as we get into the beginning of next week, that Monday, Tuesday stretch. We can see that Wednesday seems to be our next opportunity for dry skies in the forecast after today. Otherwise, it seems like we'll have about 5 days straight of measurable precipitation in Southern California. Weather impact days are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where you may want to adjust any outdoor plans that you have. The mountains were originally expecting some snow. Seems like it'll stay wet in the form of rain for our mountains exclusively, and the deserts with lighter accumulations, that main day of rain coming on Saturday. In the meantime, remember to head to CBS8.com. It's got much more info on how to prepare for this incoming storm.
And coming up after a quick break, we'll have forecasts from Phoenix and Denver. Get ready, Phoenix, because winter is coming, at least for Phoenix standards. Ginger Jeffries is tracking a storm system that's going to bring rain and much cooler temperatures over the weekend.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west, where we have sweeping changes coming in as we are prepping for not just rain, also a 20-degree temperature drop, some strong winds, and yes, the first snow of the season. Granted, I think it's going to be more of a dusting on this go around, but still, we are certainly going to be dealing with a winter type storm today. Well, you wouldn't notice by looking at the temperatures. I mean, check this out. We've got 85 today in Tucson, about 89 in Parker, 88 for Havasu, 78 in Kingman, 73 in Prescott, 63 Flagstaff, 67 Grand Canyon, and Phoenix under a little bit of cloud cover. It's basically just a filter from the dominant sunshine. Daytime highs still pushing well above the normal range. So we'll see these thin clouds, but really no major changes as far as the temperatures. I mean, we're in the upper 80s during the day, the low 60s overnight, but then this is where things start to get interesting. Look at today, tomorrow, still in the 80s. By Saturday, we start to drop. I think you really start to feel that on Sunday. And then the cold air that's trailing this front, it's really going to drop the mercury. So yeah, we are looking for a substantial temperature drop. Now, as far as the rain dropping, this is going to be coming late on Saturday, also on Sunday, tapering off Monday, but I think we're going to stay unsettled through the early part of next week. So for a year that we are already above normal as far as our rainfall, look at this. We're closing in on 7.5 inches. Normal for us, right about 6 inches. And the last 2 years, we've been well below that. So it's definitely been a juicy year, and it is not over. Take a look. So our Phoenix rain chances developing on Saturday night. 50% of the region on Saturday, by 70% coverage on Sunday, a little bit of a breather Monday, and then yeah, we'll have some remnant moisture on Tuesday. High country, yeah, similar scenario. We're really looking for the main meat of this system to be rolling through Saturday into Sunday. And for the White Mountains, it just doesn't look like it's going to be so much of an east side of the state impact. It's higher elevations and west side. So right now, we've got that barrier of high pressure keeping us, for the most part, on the dry side, even though we're allowing in some of those thin clouds. By Saturday morning, that area of low pressure will begin to move onshore, and that's going to shove all this moisture into our neck of the woods. Rain should be coming down by the evening hours on Saturday, but then again, the most dynamic leg of moisture moving through Saturday into Sunday. It's going to bring in some snow and possibly even some thunderstorm activity. So if we get one of those real strong cells, we'll see some higher rainfall totals. Otherwise, looks like the higher elevations should see up to about an inch of rain. For the metro, I mean, it's really been all over the place. I mean, we started the week with closing in on an inch of rain. I think it's going to stay under about a half inch. So maybe a quarter to a half inch of rain across the valley. But these forecast models, oh my goodness, this one is calling for over an inch in Scottsdale. And again, that all has to do with where potentially we could get one strong thunder cell, and then that produces that higher level of rainfall. So here we go. 7-day forecast in Flagstaff. Looking for the 60s today, the 40s by Sunday, with, yes, the first snow of the season. And this is going to linger through the early part of next week. We have weather impact alerts issued for the valley starting Saturday night into Sunday, all because, yes, I know it's going to feel like a big change overhead, but we also have rain moving in.
And as the weather remains on the warmer side for the next couple of days in Phoenix, it may be a good idea to go golfing before the rain comes in. But what are good golfing conditions and how do they impact your game? Well, meteorologist Crystal Long has those details.
You've got your swing dialed in and your putting game on point, but there's one thing you can't control: the weather. It's always changing, and you just gotta roll with it. Time to tee up and see what kind of day we're in for on the course. Early mornings can create dew-covered fairways since the temperature is usually closer to the dew point then. That moisture can make the course soft and soggy, slowing things down and making your ball muddy. As the sun rises, the course dries out and firms up. That means the ball rolls faster and farther. You'll get longer drives, trickier approach shots, and faster greens. Then there's another weather hazard: the wind. Wind swirling through a lot of trees can create unpredictable gusts that might push your ball more than expected or have you coming up short. Any kind of spin to your ball will exaggerate a cut or a draw when hitting into the wind. On the flip side, wide open courses leave you at the mercy of strong, steady winds that can really take your ball for a ride. With a tailwind, the extra push will have you clubbing down. But with a headwind, you'd better club up because the wind is playing against you. On a windy day, the smart play is to keep the ball low. Less hang time means less wind messing with your shot. Remember, when it's breezy, swing easy so you can hit that controlled Tiger Stinger. Now, as the afternoon heat kicks in, there's a little secret. Warmer air is less dense. Translation? The ball travels farther, so don't be surprised if you start absolutely crushing it out there. And one more thing, altitude also spices up the game. The higher the elevation, the farther your ball flies, thanks to thinner air putting less drag on your shot. Titleist even did the math. Your ball travels over 1% farther for every 1,000 feet you climb. So if you're taking that swing in, say, Flagstaff, get ready to add some extra yards to your game. Whether you're teeing off with buddies or catching the pros on TV, understanding how the weather and altitude shakes things up can take your game and your fun to the next level. Now go out there and enjoy every shot.
Now it's time to head to the Mile High City because near record high temperatures are expected today. A really nice weekend ahead, but major changes are set to arrive next week. Kathy Sabin and Jaden Knowles have all the details.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We've enjoyed a summer-like week in fall, but we have had not only above average temperatures, but above average cloud formations. Look at the lenticular clouds forming along the foothills. This shot out of Evergreen from Susan McPherson. When the winds are super gusty aloft out of the west, come across the Continental Divide, sometimes they'll create wonderful cloud pictures like this. Our high pressure ridge has been the dominant feature for weeks now with the storm track to the north, but signs next week that the ridge will bend and give way to a trough of low pressure. This trough has 2 pieces of energy in it. The first piece of energy comes in over the weekend and could mean snow for the mountains, which are struggling to make snow, keep snow on the ground, and just see some snow falling from the clouds. The second piece of energy could bring scattered snow showers to the Front Range and lower elevations the middle to the end of next week. Right now, everything's missing Colorado. The storms come into California, go north to Billings, Minneapolis, and into the northeast following the jet stream. We have been blessed with the northern lights over the past day or so, so the cloud forecast has been pretty important. Clouds traveling through from the west and southwest and the high and mid layers of the atmosphere have created wonderful sunrise and sunset pictures for us, but to see the northern lights, we needed clear skies, so that's been a big part of our forecasting in Colorado for the last 48 hours. Speaking of 48, that's where we start this morning at 6 a.m. Temperatures soar above the average of 55 again today. We trend above average for Thursday and Friday with a cooler weather trend heading into the weekend. Mountain snow Saturday and Sunday. Denver stays dry. Temperatures are cool Monday and Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Potential weather impact alert for a prolonged period of cold air, much colder air, cold enough that we could see some snow showers in Denver and along the Front Range. And so we're tracking that big shift in the pattern for the middle part of the next week. But for now, might as well enjoy sunshine and 70s again tomorrow.
I'm Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Jaden Knowles here in Denver, Colorado. And we get a lot of potholes, especially as we head into the winter season. Winter officially starts December 21st. We're still in the fall season, but the pattern is finally about to switch. Maybe our first snowfall as we head into next week. But let's talk about how the potholes are formed. Well, water seeps in through cracks in the road, which collects underneath, softening the road base. That's the first step. But once the water freezes with those cold temperatures, it expands and forces the pavement upwards. And then, of course, the driving on top of those potholes or surfaces that's already uphilled a little bit doesn't help at all. You can see traffic adds extra stress on the weakened pavement. And then once the drier weather arrives, after that system that comes through, we start to see more sunshine. We already know how Colorado weather is. The water dissipates, leaving a hole underneath the pavement. And then guess what? We got to go to work the next day, and we're driving right on top of that once again, and the weight of the passing vehicle causes the road surface to collapse into the hole, and that is exactly how you get your potholes. So that's the reason we see a lot of potholes across the entire state. So where the road collapse, continuous traffic expands the hole with time, and that's the reason there's just so many potholes across the state. I mean, I remember when I first moved out here, I thought, I was dreaming. There were so many potholes. But we do have a system coming next week that could give us our first snowfall of the season. On average, we usually see our first snowfall October 18th. It's been almost a month since that average first date, but luckily we got that potential weather impact for next Wednesday. That's the reason we're seeing cooler temperatures. We're talking about highs only in the low 40s. That rain should start to shift to snow as we head into late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. So that should start Tuesday night, as I mentioned. That's the reason for the potential weather impact. But as far as today goes, nice and beautiful. No snow, no precipitation, lots of sunshine, and 73 degrees.
Coming up after a quick break, we'll stay in Denver to see the winter activities they have starting with Santa tomorrow. Santa is arriving in Colorado tomorrow at the town center at Aurora. There will be a holiday market, carolers, cookies, an elf workshop, and photos for the event. Meanwhile, at Cherry Creek Shopping Center, Santa's Flight Academy is open now through Christmas Eve. And visitors can step inside his 22-foot sleigh, enjoying magical snowfall, and take part in Saturday's tree lighting ceremony with hot chocolate, treats, and live entertainment. So something for everyone. And Denver's not the only one jumping over Thanksgiving. Portland is getting in the holiday spirit, where a 75-foot tall Doug fir Christmas tree arrived at Pioneer Courthouse Square yesterday. And it was definitely a celebration there with music and cookies and hot cocoa. You see the tree arriving there. It will take 2 weeks to reattach some of the branches that had been removed during transport and add over 9,500 lights. Look at that big guy there.
I think people are excited when the tree is brought in because it really kicks off the holiday season. They know, okay, downtown for the holidays, it's coming.
It is coming indeed, and it's going to be here before you know it. The holiday festivities will be arriving soon in Boise. Downtown Caldwell's Winter Wonderland returns on November 21st and will go through mid-January in case you miss it. The area transforms into a setting right out of a Hallmark movie. You see how beautiful it is there, with over 1 million Christmas lights. There's also an ice skating ribbon and cozy fire pits. Beautiful. And the most important thing, Mr. and Mrs. Claus will be there. And it's only a matter of time before snowflakes begin to fall in the Treasure Valley. The lack of winter weather is a good opportunity for the Ada County Highway District to practice preparing snow plows and sand trucks. And Tyson White, has more.
Well, we've been out here at ACHD's operations yard in Garden City this morning. We've been talking about their no snow call this morning, and I want to bring in Tom Audie from ACHD. You've been kind of running this show this morning. Why is this so important to get crews out and practicing these runs?
Well, what's most important is to know what you're going to be encountering. So we want to get crews familiar with being able to load their trucks up, knowing what the routes are going to look like, actually driving the route in a plow so that there's not any surprises when the snow actually starts falling.
Now, these guys have been in here since about 5:30 this morning, and they're out here loading up the sand, loading up the de-icer, that magnesium chloride as well. We're also checking their vehicles for safety and operation procedures as well.
Yes, sir. We're making sure that everything's working the way it should be working, so that when we have to load up a sander, we know how to do it, so that everything is ready. Our fleet team is also here to make sure that everything is working right, and when things are not working right, we get them fixed right away so we're prepared when the snow falls.
So we're not caught off guard. Now, folks that are living in Ada County need to be prepared as well for those plows and for the safety of themselves out there on the road. What kind of reminders do you have for folks who live in Ada County?
The most important thing is to start earlier. Give yourself more time to get places. You'll want to increase your following distance. You'll want to go a little bit slower. If you see one of our plows or our mag trucks on the road, you're going to want to give it more space. Don't try to pass it. It's not safe for you, and it's really not safe for the driver. Just give yourself more time so you don't have to make those quick decisions.
Just prepare yourself. So when you hear us saying snow is coming, be prepared and get ready for it. We've been out here at ACHD this morning. We've got to check back in next hour as well. But crews are out and they're doing their runs this morning. So if you see a plow, don't be alarmed. There's no snow falling or icy roads. They're just prepping for the season ahead. In Garden City, Tyson White, Idaho's News Channel 7.
It's never too early to prepare. And of course, we'll get to Portland and Boise's forecast in the back half hour. A study from Canadian scientists projects that of the 21 previous host cities, only one will be able to reliably host the Winter Olympics in the next 50 years. They found it's becoming harder for cities to guarantee the right conditions as warmer winters threaten the future of outdoor sports. Experts warn that even well-known venues like Salt Lake City and Park City are seeing shorter ski seasons and unpredictable snowfall. They believe only Sapporo, Japan may stay reliably cold enough to host future Winter Olympics. And it's beginning to look more like Christmas at Rockefeller Center. Workers installed the star on top of the Christmas tree on Wednesday. Sure sign of the times. Look at how beautiful. The 900-pound Swarovski crystal star has to be hoisted into place. It has roughly 70 spikes and over 3 million crystals. And the star is only part of the light show, of course. That is going to turn this 11-ton Norway spruce into the star of the holiday season. And by the way, the lighting ceremony will be on December 3rd. And this is definitely a sight to see. The East Coast already got a taste of winter and Christmas with that Arctic blast earlier in the week. It was so powerful that iguanas were falling from the trees in Florida. And yes, that's a normal thing. The little guys were okay. But wildlife experts say frigid temperatures can send the reptiles into a stunned condition, which causes them to lose control of their muscles and sometimes fall out of trees. The iguanas are not dead, they're just briefly paralyzed. The Wildlife Conservation Commission says frozen iguanas should be left alone until they recover and run off. And here's a little explainer for you. When they actually fall, the conditions for it. When temperatures are less than or cooler than 75 degrees, that's when they slow down, they stop eating, and by about 40 degrees, that's when they become stunned. Now, when it gets colder than 40 degrees, they're still alive, but they fall and they are incapacitated. So a little tidbit for you there. If you hear of a falling iguana alert, if you're visiting Key West, Miami, so on and so forth, yes, it is a common thing when it gets that cold. That sudden cold snap did cause a lot of issues on the road for the East Coast. A North Carolina veteran is getting a lot of praise for his major act of kindness during a traffic nightmare Monday night. While drivers were stuck on an icy interstate, he put his food truck to charitable use. Gracie Palmer reports.
Veteran Richard Gray served in the U.S. Army from 89 to 97, but on Monday night he found himself serving his community once again, this time in the form of lobster rolls. After wintry weather stopped traffic on I-40 for hours, Gray pulled his food truck, the Bell Buoy, over onto exit 37 and started handing out food and water.
I was talking to one of my other friends, and he said that there was somebody up by the way station that said that they'd been sitting in traffic for about 4.5 hours and they needed something to drink.
He was on his way back home to Waynesville after working an event at Burning Blush Brewery in Mills River. He said he left Mills River at around 7:15 and didn't get home until 1 a.m. Gray says he's since received lots of recognition for this kind act, something he didn't even think twice about doing.
And after a quick break, we're headed to Washington State, where Rich Marriott and Thomas Patrick are tracking mountain snow and rain. What you're seeing right here, police in Washington are trying to find whoever abandoned this tiny little puppy. Someone called to report the little guy in a dumpster. Police came to his rescue, and they say he was cold, scared, and covered in debris. Members of the Linwood Police, which Linwood's north of Seattle, they are fostering the puppy right now, and they named the puppy Oscar. He looks like a little dachshund mix, so Oscar would definitely suit him. So we thank you so much for rescuing that sweet little guy. And speaking of Seattle, Seattle had a record high temperature on Sunday, sunshine Tuesday, an outstanding Northern Lights display Tuesday night, and rain returned Wednesday. Now it's back to Pacific Northwest standards. Rich Marriott is breaking it all down for you.
Hi, I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Murriott, and it has been a wet morning commute around western Washington. That rain moved in early. It's been sitting with us through the entire morning commute, and it's also been moderate to heavy at times in some places as that continues to move up from the south. There's a low off the Oregon and California coast that's rotating this up into us and definitely soaking us down today, and that's going to continue probably on into the afternoon. Then we should see that gradually start to turn to off and on showers from the south later on as the front gradually weakens in place. It's going to kind of stall out over us and just stay in over the generally over western Washington and kind of do nothing for about 24 hours before it joins with another one coming down the coast. I'll show you that in a minute. That's going to re-energize it and bring more rain. You can see that rain continuing. Looking farther down there, we can occasionally see still some moderate to heavy rainfall pushing up from the south, keeping things really wet as we move on towards later on in the day. Through the Bellingham Tower Cam, it's actually been relatively dry. It's far enough north. I think it's also picking up a little bit of the rain shadowing of the Olympics. So we've only seen some occasional showers there. But boy, once you get down into the other cameras, they've been pretty much covered with raindrops through the entire morning. And that's actually had quite an effect on the morning commute as well, which has been pretty slow today. Looking out for our Queen Anne Tower Cam, basically just looking very dark right now, looking out there towards Queen Anne. And checking out the Tacoma Tower Cam, we could see the Cascades at one point this morning. Those have definitely disappeared. And see absolutely no wind. That flag totally slack there on the Tacoma Dome this morning. And out along the coast, it's been a rainy morning out there as well. You can see there looking towards the marina this morning. Roadways definitely looking wet, and gray is the color of the day everywhere. Looking at the 7-day forecast, it's a wet day today. We do see that turned off and on showers, and tomorrow it looks like we'll probably see some showers during a chunk of the day before that front moves down from the northwest. It's going to join with the one that stalls over us. That's going to give us some steady rain as we head towards later Friday into early Saturday before it turns back to showers once again. Later in the weekend, we're going to see the rain return again on Sunday after a brief break, and that's going to probably end up being our wettest day. It does dry a little bit the first part of next week, and it also cools, so snow levels actually coming down for the first time in a while. We'll look at that in just a minute. Looking out there at the satellite image, you can see the system rotating out of that low just off the coast there. Again, that's going to move up and kind of stall there as we head towards later today into the first half of tomorrow, and then we're going to be looking at this system start to move in here, and that's going to combine with the one that's still left over to give us another round of steady rain as we head into Friday night into early Saturday. Should get a little bit of a break before that system starts to move in as we head towards Sunday. Overall, our forecast, well, there's the computer model. You can see that moves on through, and we kind of see that front kind of stall right just to the south of Puget Sound in this model, and then that next system moves down from the north. That definitely joins up with that one and gives us another wet day heading into early on Saturday, but it should turn to showers as we head towards in the afternoon and evening on Saturday, giving us at least a little bit of a break. Looking at the Hurricane Ridge camera, it's a little above 5,000 feet, looking like raindrops on the camera lens, unfortunately, and we look at Paradise also above 5,000 feet. Basically that rain coming down. For St. Stevens and Snoqualmie and White Passes, just barren wet pavement, should be pretty easy driving overall. And checking those snow levels today, they're around 7,000 to 8,000 feet, so pretty high. They'll drop a little bit on Friday after that system kind of moves in here later today, and we are going to be looking for the 5,500 foot level is above all the mountain highway passes, so it isn't going to interfere with travel. Bounces back up again on Saturday and only drops to around 6,000 on Sunday, but finally once we get a cold front through late Sunday and early Monday, we'll see those snow levels drop down to about 3,000 feet for Monday and Tuesday. Unfortunately, at the same time, this weather is going to be drying, so we might see a little bit of snow out of it, but probably only an inch or two most likely. So for today, it's going to be wet. We already knew that. Rain at times today, temperatures in the mid-50s. That should turn to off and on showers later in the day on through at least the first half of Friday before we see the rain turn steady again as we head towards late afternoon or evening, low to mid-50s. So we move into Saturday, which will switch back to off and on showers with some sun breaks. Increasing rain again as we head towards the afternoon on Sunday. That should be another wet system. Decreasing showers Monday. Tuesday, we'll just see a couple showers, and then partly sunny Wednesday with rain moving in late. Temperatures next week, some of our coolest highs so far this fall in the upper 40s to right near 50 degrees.
From Seattle to Spokane, Thomas Patrick is tracking more rain and mountain snow.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Going to be an interesting handful of days, all of which will contain some rainfall. Funny enough, you're going to see that all 7 days of the 7-day forecast have a rain chance. Some days better than others. Today being one of those days where we're guaranteeing rain. It's incoming for eastern Washington, and while the snow stays in the mountains for now and this weekend, might be a little bit lower by next week when things get a little bit cooler. But let's walk through the rain first of all, because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So here are the rain chances for Spokane next 5 days. Today, oh yeah, it is absolutely going to be raining widespread through the afternoon and most of the evening, and this storm does last into Friday morning at minimum, and that's where most of our rain chances are. I go 70% for Friday just because it will be more scattered for Friday versus the widespread rain today. The weekend's not too bad. These 2 days are the lowest chances of rain out of the next 7 here, so mostly good to go, but somebody probably gets a little bit unlucky and gets rained on either Saturday or Sunday. As we've been looking at the rainfall that has been incoming for central Washington, already started by 9 a.m. for locations like Moses Lake and Omak, just waiting on it for Spokane. Let's widen things out, show the entire West Coast, because it is this storm center, low pressure region just off of Northern California. Kind of a two-pronged storm here. There's the atmospheric river for Northern California, but then there's this northerly warm front section that's over the Pacific Northwest. So obviously this is where most of the rain is going to be for Thursday, but there's this gentle feed of moisture that will make that rain fairly continuous for the next 24 hours. Because this is an atmospheric river pattern, we end up a bit warmer than average today. Even in Spokane at 52 degrees, that's almost 10 degrees above normal for the season. The average is 43 for today. So far, it's been a rainy November. About 1.3 inches of rain so far on the month, about a ½ inch above normal, and we'll continue to add to that for the remainder of this work week. So here's how it looks for the inland Northwest. Rain by noon, 1 p.m. for Spokane. Once it gets started, it's here to stay. All afternoon, all evening, all night. Even Friday morning, the rain is still mostly continuous for the region. So this is why we're going to pick up a decent amount of rainfall to finish the week here. Now, I think by Friday afternoon, we'll start to see the end of this storm before it tries to reload a few more scattered showers for the weekend. But again, weekend chances a lot lower. Really, Thursday afternoon through Friday morning is going to give us the bulk of the rain around Spokane. About 2 to 4/10 of an inch of rain. No, it says above a ½ inch in Coeur d'Alene, certainly possible for areas in North Idaho. Meanwhile, snow levels, again, with an atmospheric river, warm, mild pattern, honestly kind of high, 4,500 feet. That is barely to Lookout Pass, which is the pass between Idaho and Montana. Next week could be a different story, as temperatures will finally cool off by a factor of about 10 degrees, and that could lead to that first rain chance, but not to the middle of next week at earliest.
After the break, we're staying in the Northwest with forecasts from Rod Hill and Hector Mendoza. Now to Portland, Oregon, where Rod Hill is tracking a rainy weather pattern through the weekend. He tells us what this means for the mountains as well.
Finally, the Rose City is wet. I'm Rod Hill on a Thursday. We haven't had anything stormy, but we had several hours of fairly steady rain this morning right over the heart of the commute, which created the biggest mess commute-wise we've seen in at least a handful of days with slow travel. Now, what's going on for us today? We thought the showers would return last night into this morning. They have. The main driver today is this low off the coast of California. Look at California. They're getting pretty heavy rain bands. All this migrates south to north up across our area. Now, for Portland, Salem, and Vancouver, it's been just gentle stuff. We've generally had less than 5/100ths of an inch of rain. We have seen some heavy rain pockets and over a ½ of an inch of rain up in Astoria. But now, everything's going this way, right? There's some dry time moving in, and Futurecast is biting on this. So let me show you. This is 8 o'clock this morning. Now, pretty wet. But now, later this morning, the noon hour, here we are at 1 o'clock. It's really pretty dry. Now, the green through the afternoon, some scattered showers expected. Absolutely, we expect some scattered showers. And maybe there's a spotty downpour in here if we open up some sun breaks. But the bigger message to me is moving into the afternoon and through the afternoon, more dry time than wet time, not the steady several hours of rain that we had this morning. And then weather models still show a shower chance on Friday. This is Friday morning. This is Friday at 7 o'clock. I tell you what, you didn't see much green. Tomorrow, weather models show we could have as little as like 2, 3 100ths of an inch of total rainfall. Going back to what we started to hammer home a couple days ago, that while we have showers in the forecast today, some rain in the forecast every day through through Sunday, no big storms, no high wind threat, high snow levels, so just wet passes over the Cascades, and really just some typical showery weather. This does show, and these are 4-day totals, today through Sunday, 1.65 in Astoria. They've already picked up about 65 and 100s. That's only an inch yet to come. And then on average, up and down I-5 in our local area, Portland, Salem, Vancouver, about a half of an inch of rain. That makes sense. And it may be a struggle just to get that much. Getting back to we're starting to dry out somewhat at this hour. Here is some beautiful blue and opening up some dry weather in Lincoln City, our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera there. Still hitting this story. This is Timberline Lodge, 6,000 feet. That is no snow on the ground, obviously. In fact, temperature this morning has been 43 degrees up there. It's been 50 at pass level. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today. There are 0, as in donut, signs of any significant snow falling at Mount Hood or Cascade ski resorts here in Oregon between now and Thanksgiving weekend. So unless that changes, we are not going to see skiing and boarding Thanksgiving weekend. That's always the goal, right? We hope to have some skiing and boarding at least for a partial opening or a preview opening, they call it sometimes. It looks like that's in jeopardy this year. All right, having fun looking at all the holiday stuff. Here's the Oregon Zoo. Of course, they have zoo lights and our Christmas tree in downtown Portland from the Pioneer Park building. That arrived yesterday, and they got the tree up, so they'll be assembling that. Well, we're mid-50s to 60 degrees with showers or rain at times into Sunday, but nothing to write home about, and still a scattered shower pattern to start next week.
Near record warmth today before temperatures are going to dip through the weekend with some showers in the mix. Boise's Hector Mendoza has those details.
Well, last night it was round 2 for the Northern Lights, and those folks that posted on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page, it was another great show here. As you can see, a lot of those reds and almost purplish colors there with yellows there mixed in, and it was just a beautiful night. Brian posted this again on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page, and thank you so much for that. And it was a pretty comfortable afternoon yesterday as we stayed dry with temperatures into the upper 60s for the most part, sticking around those low to mid 60s there for Caldwell, Nampa, and Mountain Home, mid to upper 50s there for portions of the mountains, and into the low 60s for Jerome. Much cooler there into the upper 50s for Twin Falls, but we're expecting temperatures to warm up here to the warmest we've seen so far this week in for today, and some spots are going to challenge some of these records or get very close as we get towards this afternoon. So right now we are looking at some of the forecast highs for spots in the valleys. We include Boise, Ontario, Twin Falls, even out in the mountains in McCall, as temperatures forecast at 69, possibly tying the record here for this afternoon. Low 60s, which is only about 4 degrees shy from that record in Ontario. Another area there in McCall seeing some of those temperatures about 4 degrees shy of that record, and just about 1 degree close to what we're expecting in terms of that high temperature into the upper 60s. Now, normally around this time of November, we're seeing temperatures into the low 50s, so well above the average, and that's going to continue here into the next couple of days. The one thing that's going to help is going to be some of the winds that are going to start to make its way through as they're going to start to rise, and see anywhere between 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts here through today. And that's going to be one of the things we're going to be talking about here for today, as we're unseasonably warm, not just today, but heading into the weekend as we stay into the 60s. But for today, we are going to stay mostly dry for many of those valley spots. It's going to be the mountains that are expecting some of those showers here later on into the afternoon and heading into the evening. But the one thing that's going to be very, very similar across Southwest Idaho is going to be the drop of temperatures that we're going to be seeing here leading into the weekend, and will continue to drop as we head on into the beginning of next week. So again, this ridge of high pressure is going to slowly continue its way off into the east. It's still going to bring in some of those milder temperatures, but with a system and a cold front that comes in later on is what we're going to see some of those temperatures drop down, and we're going to see some of these showers coming along later on in through the afternoon. So here's a look at this future cast as we're going to fast forward here, not expecting much here through a good portion of today, but we're expecting a little bit more of those showers to really start to come along to this afternoon. And then we're going to start to see that as we head on in through Friday afternoon and Friday evening, that's when we're going to see a bit of a break from some of those showers that we're expecting through the morning and through the early afternoon. And this is what's going to stick around all the way through Saturday, as those temperatures, again, sticking around to some of those above average temperatures here. But it's Sunday where we're expecting a little bit more of those showers to start to come along. And that's where we're expecting some of the snow levels to start to drop. We're also going to see temperatures drop as well. So here's a look at our 7-day forecast as we look at Twin Falls in the upper 60s here for Thursday, dropping down into the low 60s for Friday, seeing a little bit more of that sunshine Saturday, and down into the upper to low 40s there Monday into Tuesday. And that's pretty much what we're going to expect here as our 7-day forecast as we look here as we extend on in through the weekend. So we get a bit of a break from some of the wet weather there on Saturday, a little bit more of that sunshine, and then we start to see those temperatures even through the morning start to drop down into below freezing temperatures as we head towards the middle of next week.
And when we come back, we'll have tips on how to overcome seasonal depression. According to the National Institutes of Health, millions of Americans are estimated to experience seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. It's a type of depression that happens during specific seasons, often in the fall and winter. While it's common, many may not even know they have it. Mandy Gaither shows us the signs of this disorder and ways to overcome the symptoms.
The leaves are falling and the days are shorter. If this darker season has you feeling down, you're not alone.
Seasonal affective disorder is really just a feature of a major mood disorder like depression.
Clinical psychologist Craig Sawchuk with Mayo Clinic says symptoms of seasonal affective disorder come and go with a change in seasons and can include feeling sad, sometimes described as feeling blah. Limbs can feel heavy, there's low energy, and a tendency to want to sleep more. There may also be carbohydrate cravings and weight gain.
When those symptoms start to become more prominent, they start to cause problems in day-to-day living, then that's when we look at a difference between just having winter blues versus actually being a problem of clinical concern.
Sawchuk says focusing on lifestyle factors can help maintain a regular sleep schedule instead of being tempted to oversleep. Exercise can also help improve mood and health overall, and he says to stay connected.
Making sure that we're avoiding the avoidance and avoiding the withdrawal, making plans, being accountable with others, and healthy supports can be really helpful.
Light therapy can also help. Sawchuk says using a light box for about 20 to 30 minutes when you wake up can provide symptom relief. Cognitive behavioral therapy can also help, and there's always medicine.
The medications that we typically use in the treatment of non-seasonal depression, they can actually be very helpful here as well too.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
That does it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and as always, we want to thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.